This is the first in a series of interviews I'm going to be publishing to our channel. And I know many people aspire to live and work from their van. So our first interview is with someone who is not only doing that, but also traveling with his wife and his 3-year-old son. So let's get on with today's interview. We're James and Rob, and this is our dog Oscar. It's a really steep learning curve when you start your motorhome, campervan or caravan journey, and there is lots that we wish we had known. So we decided to document what we have learned and share with you our adventures as we head out on the road again. So I am really excited to have with me a friend and colleague, Anthony Burke. And Anthony's been living full time with his family in his van for the last, 9 months, I guess. So I thought it'd be really great to have Anthony tell us a bit about what is it like to live and work and travel in a van with your family. So Anthony, welcome to the channel, and it'd be really good just to get a bit of background from you first of all on what led you to moving into the van full time.
I should say COVID was the biggest reason why we decided to jump into a van and try doing something a little bit different. Reason being, we were cooped up. We had a 3-year-old or 2-year-old at the time. Pretty much all his life has been kind of in this COVID bubble. So as soon as we got the opportunity to start moving, we thought that'd be a good thing. I've always kind of lived a different lifestyle. What I mean by that is I've traveled quite extensively, and I used to live in Dubai for quite a while. So this is it's just a different step, going a different way. So back in March, decided buy a motorhome, get traveling. Didn't really have the experience, didn't really have the know-how, joining groups, looking at YouTube channels and all that kind of thing. It was our guide at the time. But as with most things, trial and error, I think. So yeah, we decided to get the van. We got a van which is 2018 plate, because buying a new van was very, very problematic. People, there was backlog, so trying to get one that would suit our needs took some time, or it could have taken some time, but we managed to find one, luckily, that just fit our needs perfectly.
So in a minute, I'm going to ask Anthony to turn his background off and show us around the van and tell us what van he's got. But first of all, just tell us a little bit about your situation. So what is it you do, and how does that work in terms of working full-time in a van?
Well, I'm in the social media space. I'm a Facebook group specialist. I look after groups. That's what I do. And I have one in particular. You probably see the logo, which is up here somewhere. Brits in Dubai. It's a community-based group. So as I alluded to before, I used to live in Dubai, and I created a Facebook group just to help people when they move into the UAE. Best places to live, best places to dine, best places to go for a drink. How do you pay your electricity bill? All the standard questions you need to know when you kind of live in a different country. So I carried on this group when I came back here to the UK. Quite specialist, if you like, but it's something that's worked out quite well, and it's afforded us to basically live the, if you like, the digital nomad life.
What's your setup? What do you need to be able to run your business? And also tell us a bit about what your working week typically looks like.
My working week is slightly different because the Dubai time is slightly different. So it's 4 hours. So I try to work to their timelines. And there's also their weekends are slightly different. And obviously with the 4 hours, sometimes 3 hours, obviously based at the time of year. The setup that I have is I'm in the motorhome. If I've got anything, the only thing I really need is computer, laptop, iPad, whatever it needs to be. I have Wi-Fi fitted, and I have solar panels. So I can kind of work remotely anywhere I can. And I've been using this 5G setup, future-proofed it, so to speak. It's a little bit more expensive, but it did make sense, moving forward if I'm going to use it quite a lot. And to be honest, it hasn't let me down. It's been very, very good, no matter where I've been. We've had very few kind of dropouts. And if I did, it's a motorhome, we'll move on.
That's interesting, because I just recently released a video talking about getting Wi-Fi into your motorhome, and I compared the sort of buying a mobile router with putting a proper antenna on the roof. And that's clearly the setup you've gone for. And I guess anybody that's going to live full time, that makes sense. But that's given you pretty reliable Wi-Fi across. You've just mainly been in the UK so far, haven't you?
Yeah, UK. We've just done England and Wales. But yeah, and it's just so important to me that I am connected. So, it did make sense. If it is your entire business and you're online, you have that the quality of internet, because literally everything I do is all digital.
What about power and making sure the solar is charging your batteries enough to run your business and do all the other things that your family needs?
At the beginning of the year, it was a little bit easier. there was plenty of sun. As the years progressed, it started to lose a bit of that. And like I say, I work a lot in the van. So what we did find is going to proper places where you can get electric hookup has made all the difference. So what we started doing is, rather than moving on every other day, I would get to a site and I basically camp there for a week, 10 days. And Gemma and my son, my little 3-year-old, would go off doing their exploring. I would sit in the van doing work, but we get electric hookup at campsites. So I pay anything between 15 and 25 pounds. So we kept it fairly cheap. All I was interested in is like I say, is having that electric hookup.
What solar panels have you got on your van?
We've just got the one, and it's 150 watt solar panel, and that up to now has done the trick. I'm seriously thinking about getting another battery and replacing the battery I've got as well. So having 2 batteries just to make sure, because it has started kind of dwindling as far as being able to get enough power. So I think that's, now that we're on a bit of downtime, I'm going to, change those batteries and get the habitation checked. So I'm going to get everything done in one go.
So tell us 3 advantages and 3 disadvantages of living in a van full time.
Advantages, I would say, you're going to see way more of the world than you normally would do. And anybody that asks, I've always said, I've been to pretty much everywhere in the UK, literally everywhere, and I couldn't tell you a thing about it. That was the case before I started traveling. The good thing is, when you're doing it this way, you can go to a town, you can go to a city, you can go to wherever, and you can stay there for a period of time and just properly explore it. And you know what? I have seen some beautiful places that you would never, ever dream of going. And we've got so many hidden gems, I think, in the UK, and I dare say in Europe, which we haven't managed to do yet. So having a new backyard is nice. Having the freedom to work wherever you want to work at any particular time is also nice. And 3, spending time with your family. As a unit, there's 3 of us: myself, Gemma, and my little boy Taylor. Now, the negatives are spending time with your family. That's a double-edged sword. And the reason why I say that is because you're in a van and you can be on top of each other. If the weather's not so great and I'm trying to work, they're under my feet, then it kind of gets a little bit difficult. So you have to start boxing clever a little bit. If the weather's not so good, then you have to think of other options where we can potentially work. 2, again, it's another weather-related thing. When it's windy, you know about it in a motorhome. You really, really do. We were in Lytham St Anne's, which is on the coast, not that long ago, actually. And I honestly, because we bring a pop-up as well, which is another good thing. I bring this pop-up, so Taylor's got his outside play area. If the weather's not so good, he can play in there, so that's great. And we can also eat out there, so that's all fun. But that blew down. We're trying to put that away at 3 o'clock in the morning, which was made me a very grumpy boy, made Gemma a very grumpy girl. So, things like that. So weather is great when it's great. When it's bad. Some of the roads, using the sat navs, which I've been completely reliant on. Somebody says get one that's great for trucks and for motorhomes. And of course I didn't. I just used normal Google. And some of the roads I've literally touched the hedges on both sides trying to drive down. Usually in Cornwall or in Wiltshire was quite bad as well. So yeah, there were the kind of negatives and the positives.
Well, they're minor negatives compared to the positives, I guess. And what are your longer term plans? The
plan was always a 2-year plan. Whether or not that actually goes a full 2 years, I don't know. We've been doing it since for 8 months. We're now static a little bit. We came back for family. We always do the family thing at Christmas. So now I need to think about where we're going next. The idea of the second part of this trip was Europe. But until kind of the COVID thing subsides, then it's not something I'm really willing to travel and do yet. I want to do Scotland. I haven't really done that. I want to do more of, there's so many places that we still haven't touched. South Wales we've not done too much in, so there is still a lot in the UK that we can do. But like I said, the idea was a 2-year trip, and the reason being for that, and why that was the time scale, was Taylor was due to go to school at that particular time. We wanted to do this traveling before he was ready to go to school.
Fantastic. And before I let you go, I'm sure everybody watching would love to have a quick look around the van. So I did ask Anthony in advance, which is now turning off the background so we can have a look and tell us a bit more about the make and the model of your van, and what you love about it and what you would change if you could, I guess.
Okay, let's have a look. Right, so this be me in the van. I'm just what I liked, and the reason why I chose this van more than anything else, let's have a wander around, is a number of different things. One, is this area here. It's a bit messy because I'm working in it, but I don't know if you can see, but further up there we have our bunk beds. These drop down. That's where Taylor lives. When he's not here, I can use it as an office. I can shut it up and keep the world away. Excuse me. So that's ideal. Obviously we've got the cooking area here. This is the van at the front. This is our bed here. It drops down. The reason why I like this as a setup as opposed to anything else is because everything goes away. So we've got plenty of area where we can kind of chill, if you like. All the beds are away, so it feels like a much bigger space. A lot of people opt for the static bed, and I can understand why they would do that. But for us, and for it to be like a working environment for me, then I needed more space than it normally would be.
Brilliant. And what's the make and the model of the van?
It's a Chausson. It's built on a Ford Transit. It's a Chausson 716. It's a 6-berth, apparently. We've only ever had 3 of us in here, so I've not tried having 6. But it's very, very comfortable. We've had no issue, well, no major issues. We've had the odd little things drop off, like our waste pipe has dropped off, but that's probably me going up on the ramps. What else have we had? It's due to go in for some habitation that we had when we first got the van. That's taken a while to get sorted, but so that's another reason why we're back here, because that's going in for a couple of weeks. So, I mean, when I first started driving the van, we were a bit wary, but and we also got stuck in some mud, which pretty much everybody will do at some point, but only once. I'm proud to say only once. So I learned from that mistake. I must admit, we had one time when we were in Settle, North Yorkshire, and we looked out and the weather was horrific. In fact, you couldn't see a field at one point. We were literally in just this swamp, if you like. And the van held up well. You know, it was hailstoning and whatnot. So I've had no issues with the van. I do quite enjoy it. There's obviously going to be issues with every van. Has to be. There's always teething issues. But we bought this kind of secondhand, so we're hoping the people that had it before us would get all the teething problems before we do.
That's often advice people give, doesn't it? Get a second-hand van that
right.
has gone through all the teething problems and been fixed. How many vans did you look at, and how did you decide on this particular van?
Well, I'm very impatient, so I should have probably done a little bit more research and done a bit more work. I think we're being quite lucky with the van that we've got. Bearing in mind we were in COVID at the point, so we were looking at a lot online, and I just basically found this one. I hadn't even gone online yet. In fact, it was through a friend of mine, and he said this van's come on where he's got his from. Just basically coming to shop. He wasn't even on the website. So I got this video. I sent to the guy. I said, "Look, I'm interested. We'll come today." Saw it, bought it. Basically, the walk around videos they do are quite good now. It gives you a real good feel for it. I mean, obviously you want to see what it looks like and have a bit of a touchy feeling. But as soon as we could, we went in like saying, to the dealership, which is MB Motors. It's in Rochdale Way, somewhere like that. And I just said, jump on it, because if we want to go traveling straight away, we can't really waste too much time. So it's worked out quite well. So I'm quite happy about that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think in the van world and in the world we're living in at the moment, where they're quite hard to come by, right. People making decisions without even seeing the van or without test driving the van. But, you know, that's good that you sounds like you made the right decision. So listen, I just want to say huge thank you for joining us today. I'm sure there'll be lots of comments, so I'll make sure if there are that I let you know, and you can hopefully answer those questions. But it's really good to get a peek into your world of living full-time in a van.
Rob, pleasure. If they need any more advice, or if you want any more information, please feel free to get in touch.
So as Anthony said, if you've got any questions for him, please leave a comment and I'll make sure we answer them. But also please let me know what other types of people you would like me to arrange to interview. We've got some great interviews coming up, including site owners and also what it's like to travel in a camper van in South Africa. So please make sure that you've hit the subscribe button and also the thumbs up so that you're alerted every time a new video is published. But other than that, we will see you next week as we head out on the road again.